Senator Heitkamp.
Thank you so much, Senator Scott, and thank you so much for your great bill. I really do appreciate the opportunity to sign on. I'm just giving you a little hard time.
You do it so well and naturally.
I know, but you're so easy. So rural America. I mean, Ms. Harris, I was so intrigued by what you said, that there has to be a collaboration. People can't be in isolation. They need mentors. They need places where they can feel kind of almost the dynamic nature of what needs to happen in order to transition. But way too often, rural America is not perceived as a place where we can do startups, where we can actually innovate and create. We hope we're changing that in places like Fargo, Grand Forks, even Walcott, Galchute. You don't know those places, but there's some really amazing things that are happening. And you know, my question to you is, we've introduced a bill called SEED. And what it does is basically help transition that early days before there's actually intellectual product to market in the capital markets, because so many of these, particularly young people, they're threatened by student loans, they're threatened by, you know, trying to start a family. They don't have that time or that capacity on the front end. And so what this bill would do is, with a modest investment, provide, you know, on a collaborative basis, cities would decide, we're going to give you, let's say, $120,000 for the next year and a half for you to develop your product. How do you see that fitting in with kind of the development of more entrepreneurial geographic dispersion?
Yeah, your point is an excellent one, and actually I visited several of those communities you listed. I had the benefit through Startup America of literally traipsing through our entire nation, and what I learned in that journey for 2 years was that I never visited a single community where I couldn't find pockets of high growth, high potential entrepreneurs with compelling ideas. We have technology that is connecting us in every area of our lives, yet entrepreneurs are going solo, and where they live really drives whether they'll be successful. So strategies that allow our entrepreneurs to start and scale in place are really critical. So when you peel that back and say, well, what does that mean? First and foremost, that means inspiration, being able to see themselves in the entrepreneurship narrative so that they start their business, they take that idea and actually form and start the business. That also means enabling them through financial incentives for that period of time when they are bootstrapping to be able to pay their bills. And for most entrepreneurs, that is the number one hurdle. They have an idea and they're just not able to get started. Once they start, we often say, well, they need venture capital. How do we attract more venture capital? But what I have found in the last 6 years is capital follows good ideas, and good ideas need mentoring. And mentors exist all over our country. The problem is that we're limiting who you can access as a mentor to whether that mentor lives in your city. And we have to fix that, and technology is one of the biggest ways we can do that.
One of the areas that I've been particularly aggressive on is, you look at SBA loan guarantees, and typically it's like supported by inventory, it's supported by regular bricks and mortar, and they aren't particularly well equipped to look at the development of intellectual product as capital. Have any of you looked at SBA's programs and suggested changes that we should be making to provide not only, you know, venture capital in the private setting, but also kind of traditional startup resources through the SBA?
Yeah, the SBA, the paperwork, the requirements, the restrictions, they're still, they don't work for startups. They are still looked at through the physical enterprise lens. And startups today and in the digital era, this will be the norm. There are not the physical assets, real estate, inventory, and collateral that the SBA typically relies on.
Utilizes.
And it is also around the process and the timeline, how long it takes.
So have you looked at not just the impediments in SBA, but what changes we should be looking at to promote kind of a better startup environment within SBA to support the work that you're doing and that we're all trying to do in our communities? Mm-hmm. And maybe.
Yes, I know we have, and I know that Kaufman has spent a considerable amount of time on this as well. Maybe.
Thank you, Senator. Before I address the SBA, I just wanted to thank you for your leadership on this issue in rural areas, and highlight, and especially the community of Fargo you mentioned, that is one of our best sites for Kaufman's program, 1 Million Cups. It's
You know that's our big city. So,
yes,
you know.
yes, it is one of our most
Now that's a small town.
it's one of our most vibrant sites with
It sure
1
is,
million
and
cups.
they're doing
so thank
great
you.
work.
With regard to the SBA, I think you're absolutely right that, and Donna's correct, that some of those can be made to work better for young companies. I think some of the requirements that attend some of the loan guarantee programs, especially the 7A program, which, some of the criteria in place that you have to have been denied by other places before coming to this loan guarantee program. Some of that you might be able to do some carve-outs for young companies, maybe roll back some of those restrictions so you're not spending a lot of time and resources, not just applying for the SBA loan guarantee, but attending these, seeking out capital and being denied from other places as well.
We have to, within Congress, also find a better culture of risk. We always want to punish failure, but we all know, if you've done any development lending, that if you're not failing part of the time, you're not doing development lending. And so I really would, I'm out of time, but I would really appreciate any suggestions that you have that this committee could work on within the SBA framework. That would, in fact, provide a blueprint to the SBA to do a better job, recognizing this is the wave of the future. Intellectual property has value. It's hard to collateralize, but we've got to get there if we're going to do exactly what you recommend, and which I think this committee believes we ought to be doing. So please, we'll probably follow up with some questions, but you guys are a great panel. This has been a great discussion.